All right, so we're going to look at the vision numbers from KW Family Reunion 2025, and then we're going to slide into Northern Virginia as well. I'm not going to go through everything. I mean, there's Canadian slides in here. There's 87 in this deck, but we will post it and send you a link to it. But the home sales, what we're going to be looking at, of course, is the pink and the yellowish on each chart. Because 24 is the pink one, and then projected is 25 is the yellow one. So nationally, it looks like the projections are that we are looking at moving forward by about 100,000 units over last year. Um, but you can see what the pink dotted line was 2023 sales, and then the total annual single family home sales are the blue throughout the whole chart. So we've gone to a high of 7.1 back in '05, and then we had a tumbling down from there. And in '06 and '07, we had the dot bombs, if you remember that. It was when the dot coms bombed out. And then we had the bank failures in 2008. And so we've been lingering in this 4 to 5 million range ever since then. 22, if you recall, till about May or June, we had the 3% interest rates, and then it got high again. And so the numbers came down a little bit and the inventory was dropping. Home sales monthly for 23 and 24, you can kind of look at that. Um, I like this little chart in the upper right-hand corner where they talk about the seasonal income cycle, what happens there during that time of the year nationally. But through the year, there was no big ups and downs through the year. So home prices. Now this one's gonna, let me explain this one a little bit here. We have this, all right, folks, what's this color here? Is this teal? This running trend line, is that teal? Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Yeah, I need interaction. Help me. Help me out here,
we'll
people.
go with that.
Okay. All right. So this is teal. What this is showing is the trend line over time from 1990 to now. And what we're looking for is when we're above that trend line, because when you hit above that trend line, then you'll see a drop. The trend line is, I believe, it's an average of 4% a year. So we're only at 9.9. We're only about double what that is nationally year over year. And the projection for next year and the year for next year is 418 on the home prices. So the increase has slowed down a bit. And so from 22 to 24, or excuse me, 23 to 24, went from 390 to 408. And then this next year, it's slowing down a bit. We're only going to see about a 2 or 3% increase. So we're getting back to what the trend line is. And that just demonstrates, what's going on with housing, what's going on with interest rates and things such as that. This trend line was the dot-com buildup, and also the 9/11. There's a combination between those two. And then it dropped down below the trend line from this is the bank failure result, and then it started building up again in 20 post COVID. All right. That's home prices. Home price appreciation, it does divide it up what was going on at those time periods. 90s to 2000 was just a really stable time period. They didn't go up a whole lot year after year. And then '01 to '05 was the dot com buildup. All these dot coms were coming out. And then '06 was the dot com failures, and then the bank failures of what was going on with annual appreciation, and then the short sale cycle. 12 to 19, again, a little more stable. And then 20, 21, 22, we see it went up. And this is all national. And then 23, 24, and what they're projecting for 25. So there's a little bit more. I mean, this makes it look up and down, up and down. It's not up and down. If you, a line chart would actually give you a better view of what's going on with prices. Like you're up 6.4%, and then it's up 11.5 and down to 5.7. That looks like down. Well, no, from here in 11, it's up 6.4, and then you're up another 11 and a half. That actually takes you up 18% over 2 years earlier. You add another 5.7, now you're up 23%. So you see what I'm saying? It's on a trajectory on the home values here. So people keep waiting for the interest rates to drop down where they were here. This is just not going to happen. But they keep waiting, and look what's going to happen. They're going to keep losing the benefit of that. Here, the home prices appreciation historical nationwide. Um, we had this big jump in 21, 22. The pandemic, housing boom, and high inflation. This is a good one. Keeping in mind this is all national. And national does not, we don't buy and sell houses nationally. That's the only challenge I have with looking at national. Great, we all feel good. Look at all these increases and these decreases. Well, we don't live in Puddin Swamp, South Carolina, okay? We live in Northern Virginia, so it really is about the local, but it does give the stock market, yeah, the whole nation lives and and breathes by what's going up and down on the stock market. But housing, it shows you what's going on nationally, but it really doesn't have a dollar for dollar and percent for percent effect on what's going on with us locally. But it's good to know what's going on. The total market volume um, in trillions. So we hit our first trillion back in '01, and we stayed over a trillion till the bank failures. Then we were near a trillion on the sales volume. The agent count was up at 1.36 million back in '06. And then we dropped 140,000 '07, '08. And then this is the agent count on this teal number here. So we're still at 1.5 million. We have not had a real big down. We've leveled out since 2020 on the agent count. Again, it's more interesting to us what happens on a local level. Any questions or comments so far? Okay. And then inventory. There's the story. We've had no inventory for quite a while. So with inventory like this, you're always going to have sales like this. Okay. 4.1 million. Okay. I have no inventory. So that's the problem. And this is probably pretty reflective, not only nationally, but also locally. I mean, everybody I talk to at family reunion, they're all have an inventory issue. The only difference was in pricing. I had a guy that had a lot like, a block or two away from the coast in Washington State. The lot was $99,000. And when he was telling me, I said, "Is that per acre?" He said, "No, no, it's like 3 acres, but that's the whole thing." I was like, "Oh." So we're a little bit different there. Mortgage rates. The teal is what has been the average over historically from 72 to 24. And then from 90 to 2024, it came down to the 6% range. And now we're going to be at that more usual range in 6 to 6.5. They're projecting that by the end of the year, it'll be about 6.5 average. So it's just not, we're not seeing that float out and get more affordable. You buy a house and you buy a mortgage. 80% of homes in our area are still bought with a mortgage. 20% are cash. Cash is not always king, just so you know. All right. Now, this was interesting here, showing of the mortgages that are out there, who has what. So 34%, 1 out of 3 houses, their mortgage rates between 3 and 4. 22% are 3% or less. So 56% have 4 and under on their interest rates. And then now the 16% is we're going to see this start growing and displacing this. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year when we sell another 4 million houses and people are getting these mortgages in the 5 and in the 6 and 7% range. This yellow and blue will start getting bigger. And what I project is that the folks in these 3 and 3 to 4, they're going to have life events are going to overtake them. And mom or dad are moving in, or the kids are moving out, or the kids are moving back home, or there's a divorce, or there's a marriage, or something, and they're going to have to make a decision to sell the house at 6% and then go buy a house at 6% when they have this 3 or 4% interest rate. So that's gonna change us up as well. Life's gonna take over the rate and what they're in love with there. Affordability, principal and interest as a percent of income. Because of the interest rates back in the 12 to 20, it really dipped. And now we're at, 32%. The historical average 27%. Financial planners will tell you keep that below 35. So we're believe it or not, we're still kind of affordable as far as what's going on, even though the prices in our area probably a little bit different. Now this is Canada. I'm gonna skip through that. The U.S. economy. All right. Houses are where the jobs go at night. So this 2.8 is a good number. A 2.5 is a good number. We didn't like 20. It heated up a lot in 21 because the jobs coming back online and then slowed down 22, 23. So we're seeing 2.8 projected for 25, and that's a good thing for the GDP. The quarterly, a lot, pretty stable from 22 to 24, those 3 years. Little pop up here in one of the quarters in 23. And this is kind of, I appreciate this chart, but what we're seeing here is like everyone go home, and everybody come back. And people just came out with a fury to get back into the market and buy stuff. And so that's the hiccup for us. Hopefully we don't repeat that ever in our lifetime. Unemployment, last 3 years, we've been at 3.6 to 4.0. We'll see what that number looks like next year. We got two things going on here. In our market, obviously, it's the federal employees, what's going on with that. And we'll see once they thin that out, what that's going to turn into locally. But then there is a lot of investment coming here. We just heard the announcement from Apple. They're going to put $500 billion into the economy, and they're building some plants here. So we'll see what happens with this unemployment. And if it heats up too much, that could cause inflation to go up a little bit as well. Again, unemployment by percentages, and then personal savings rate. So the teal is personal savings rate percent. Average since 1959 is 8.3%, and average since 2000, 5.2. So people are saving more money. That's good. But I know the debt is also moving up, so that's a troublesome thing. Inflation had the height here of all the stuff that was going on with COVID and then recovering from that, bringing it back down. The teal and the yellow or gold and amber. One includes energy and food, which is gasoline and groceries. And then the teal excludes that. They usually mirror each other a little bit. But when energy and food went up in 21, 22, that kind of um, hurt quite a bit. And keeping in mind the bar chart, I wish we just had a cumulative chart when they would do this because that's the reality of the market. Wow, prices are down here or whatever. None of this is down. This is all up. '08 was the only one we almost got to deflation. We didn't. They kept moving up. So all these prices for everything are still up, including real estate. So it can be not tell a true story and say, well, they only went up 2%. Well, 2% on our average house is 16,000 on top of the 3% last year, which was 25,000. The house is still $34,000 more. So that's how we have to have that discussion. And when buyers are saying, I'm just going to wait till interest rates come down. And I don't think getting buyers is that much of a problem. When you see this and you see the interest rates and those things, what are your buyers saying in this market? What are you guys hearing with your buyers right now? No one's hearing anything.
About inflation specifically?
Anything, any of the inflation, the cost of housing, the interest rates. Um, what are your buyers saying? And then we'll switch that over to the discussion about what are you hearing from your sellers?
I'm
I keep
definitely hearing
hearing.
from buyers that all the stuff with the federal government is making them nervous. I've had people walk into open houses and say, and I've said, I'll be talking to them about their search, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm like more casually looking right now because I thought I was going to start my search in earnest, but now I don't know for sure, if I'll have a job
Mm,
next month or in 2 months. So I feel
yeah.
like I can't really search in earnest at the moment. And then, when I was, that's just open house people, not necessarily clients. And then some clients I have that just got under contract. I mean, we probably saw, I don't know, 25 houses over the course of 3 months. And there were quite a few that they liked and they were interested in putting an offer in, but they felt like, I don't know. There were some that were like priced maybe lower than they should have been, and then, when they heard that there was like two, four, or five offers, my clients were like, forget it. We're not going to
Yeah.
compete against that. I mean, they could have. They were very well qualified. They
Hmm.
potentially could have won one of those, but they just were like not, they didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you reach a point. The money's too much, the house is too much. I'm just going to find one where there's only two competitors. The biggest we've had in the last 2 weeks, we had a townhouse in Manassas and we got 21 offers. Little townhouse, starting price 450. And then not our listing, but one of our buyers said, "Yeah, I was one of 31. We escalated 70,000 and lost." And so that is still happening, but I'm also hearing, "Hey, we were the only offer." So it is a mixture, and I think that's the story we got to tell our people. Anybody else? Anything your buyers or sellers are saying?
I can second that.
Yeah.
I have buyers that are, you know, again, well qualified. They could have competed for the higher escalating price, but are just, we are having the conversation of what is the value to you? And they're like, it's not going to appraise. It's, the value is not there for me, and I'd rather just go out and find another house.
Hmm. Yeah.
The ones that are looking, I am also in the boat where
Yeah.
had a lot of people pull back from their search.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any others?
I had one that just went under contract, and um she's pretty secure in her job, so we just went full force. And she pretty much has that mentality that it is high and the prices are high, but she can refinance at some point.
Hmm.
So, it's, yeah, and we put an offer on two properties. We lost that on the first. We won the second one. We didn't think we were going to, but we did. Um, and yeah, so I think it just depends on the motivation of the buyer.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the economic risk we're looking at is unpredictable policy. I appreciate presidents come in and make a lot of executive orders, but then they're going to wind up in court on a lot of them. Some of them will get passed and some won't. Natural disasters, we had that happen a couple of times the last part of the year and the beginning of this year in California, and then the whole Southeast with the hurricane, and then international conflict, and hopefully, we can see some positive change on that. The things that actually matter: real estate, price of real estate, cost of money, and employment. That's it. Houses are where the jobs go at night. So, this is information that Gary Keller was talking about, and he just wanted to we have talking points and at least a cursory understanding for tariffs, because we keep hearing about that. One, it's for revenue, protecting infant industries. Not quite sure what that meant. Protecting established industries. That would be like our energy and our manufacturing, national security, and political leverage. Um, and there's two types: targeted goods, which are taxed at a specific rate, and then blanket, all goods from a country are taxed. So we're going to see this happen. Um, I mean, it's interesting to watch the president and all the other ministers across around the world how they're approaching this. It's just interesting to watch. I know we have a heightened view of it because it's in our backyard. So to see what they're doing, and we've seen it from several points on the revenue, the political leverage with Canada and Mexico. And I guess that also folds into the national security. So it's interesting to see what that's going to come into, and how that's going to work. I know it's angering a lot of our trading partners, but we'll see. Time is what's going to tell us it's going to happen to us on that one, particularly in the building industry. What does that do for the cost of building goods? Let's see what happens. Um, the tariffs, a little bit more on this. Country A levies tariffs on foreign goods from country B. Imported goods from country B become more expensive in country A. Country B retaliates with it. It just shows I think you guys know this. In DC, I think we got a pretty good handle on it. And again, if you want to, look these over and frame them and put them up in your office, I'll send these out so you guys can take a look at that. I'm not going to get too deep into this on the trade policy. Gary kept going on about it. And then wages versus corporate tax rate. The wages have kind of gone up a little bit at a time. Year over year, the tax rate from 1952 has dropped. In 24, we're at 20. And I think what the president is talking about on the corporate rate is if you put in a new plant, he's going to bring that down from 20 to 15. So we'll see what that does as far as it will definitely bring more plants here. It will definitely bring more employees. We just don't know what's going to happen with it on inflation. So we'll see how it goes. Canadian economy. Here we go. Sides per agent. This is the NAR information. And they're just dividing it up of how many agents we get. Again, this is a national look at what's going on. They're saying that this next year, the projections that agents will get an average of 5.8 out of the 1.5 million agents that we have. I submit that probably this will be the year we see more agents fall out. And what happens is when we get into that 2-year cycle of when their license is coming due, it's also combined with, do I want to do the continuing ed? Do I want to pay the NVAR dues? Do I want to take on the expenses of having my marketing going on, all that thing of running a business? And so then they start deciding, okay, I think I'm going to get out. So what was happening in 23? We were still in recovery after COVID, and then the interest rates were hitting on. And you see from 22 to 23, those last two blue bars, we had a bit of a drop, and now it's starting to go back up again. I remember after the dot-com bust, we had a lot of people from tech come into real estate. If we lose a certain amount of government employees, I could see government employees deciding, well, I've always wanted to have my own business. I've always wanted to sell real estate. Let me go get my license too. And some of them will come out and do wonderful, and some of them won't do so good. But I think we'll probably see where we're had a dot-com bust. Now we're going to have a government employee drop. Some of those folks are like, I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay here. My spouse or my partner also has a job, but this is my chance to go ahead and put my hand in there and try to get real estate. So we'll probably see more of those folks coming in to the business. The volume per agent in millions, and then 2024 volume per agent. In 24, we're looking at it go up about 300,000. So that looks nice with a national average price of 418. Okay, that's fine. Our average price is 8, so we should be beating this national average for sure, right? So we want to make sure that we're doing a little bit better than that. The TCPA update, I'm not going to get into that. We deal with that all the time. Listings with price drops. There you go. Nationally, 31%. We're not seeing this happen as much in our area. There are some price drops, but let's say they list here and then they drop their price and everyone wants to get excited. But then you look at the last sale, and they're still here. Okay. They're still up from what they sold, what was sold. So we'll see some price drops possibly, but it's price drops from an all-time high. If that makes any sense. New listings, that would be great to get that many listings coming on. Now that's nationwide. Distress sales up at about 2% a little bit. And just so you know, the FHA and conventional, it lingers at this historically before all this, the left side of this chart, they usually are about 1 to 2%. So when we get over that 3 or 4%, then we get a little nervous. But I saw a video the other day, and here's what you're going to see out there on these influencers. Foreclosures up 900%. And these were reporting from something in Florida in his area. It was from 2 to 9 units. So you got to be careful when people run off with that data. It's just our discussion is not as exciting as their discussion. I think that's the problem. Okay. No, it's stable. We're doing okay. All right.
No, our discussion is not as misleading as
Yeah.
that discussion.
Yeah. Doesn't sound as good around the water cooler, the coffee machine. They're up 900%. Wow. So they went from 1,000 to 1,900? No, they went from 2 to whatever. Underwater homes, still low. This is good. This is not our market area. Credit conditionings loosening up a little bit. Measure everything. New home starts. We still need more of those, but we're kind of leveling out over last year. And probably our starts are going to be lower. New home sales up just a tad. All right. Student loan debt still growing. The student loan is what hammers that first time buyer, is part of the challenge. The average home, what I read recently is the average loan balance that students have is about $35,000. That's the average nationwide. So doctors and lawyers will probably have a little bit higher on that one. Home insurance, this is pretty substantial. This increases the cost of buying a house. Up 10% in April 2024, and by end of the year, up another 9%. So year over year is up 10% from 24 to 23 on the cost of home insurance. There you go. Wow, non-renewal rates. They got hit by the hurricane. Some folks aren't getting renewed. And then over in California, and I guess this is Tornado Alley here in Oklahoma. I should bring this map to the office and let's all see how we're good on our geography. Everybody fill it out. See? Emma would do go with that. She was a teacher. She'd do well on this one, I'm sure, right? She'd get them all. I get lost over here past Missouri. I'm like, what? Which one is that one? They're all square. What does that mean? All right. This is really big. And I remember seeing a report from Bright showing that 44% that were selling were not buying another house. And what was happening is you had a lot of people that were selling, or they were just selling it and cashing out, selling, and a lot of these older sellers were going into assisted living. My dad was part of that. Sold his little house in Alabama for like $235. He didn't buy another house. He went into assisted living. So that one did not include a sale than a purchase. But 73% of people over 55 say they want to give all or some of their estate to their children before they die. And boomers currently control $85 trillion in assets, almost 50% of all assets in the U.S. 19 trillion is in real estate. So that's about 20% or so is in real estate. So we're going to see that happening more, and it's going to be on an upward trend. So, the millennials, Gen Xers, make sure you're offering this. I can help your parents with the sale of homes. Even the boomers, like my dad, I guess is what, the great generation or silent generation. Talk with the boomers about their parents' housing. My sphere is in that 50s and 60s range, which means the parents in their 80s and 90s, and now the kids got to deal with the house. So you want to be making that part of your marketing to your sphere. Hey, by the way, if your mom or dad need help with selling their property as they're looking at assisted living or moving into a retirement home, I can find you an agent in that market where they're going. Okay. All right. Luxury. Luxury in our market, by the way, it's the top 10 or 5%. If you say 10%, our luxury is like 1.6 million in the inside the Beltway area. If you say it's the top 5%, then our luxury starts at about 2.5 million. So luxury is not so luxurious in our area. Just so you know. There you go. Price drops in luxury and commercial. All right, I'm going to stop it at that and move over toward some stuff on the local level. Any questions on the national level? None? Okay. Do y'all see the NVAR housing forecast slide? Thumb up?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. This was back in December, I believe, from NVAR and George Mason. And the thing we're looking at really is the red on these charts. Those are the projections. So the median single family sales price in Fairfax County, we're looking to increase from 900 to about the a little bit less than the million mark through the end of this year. And this up and down is that's a seasonal thing that always goes on. Okay, you start low in January, you go high in May, June, and then it comes back down. Doesn't mean the value across the market is getting less valuable. It just means the median is the more expensive ones are settling in June, July. Single family sales up a little bit higher over June 24. That's good. And then the inventory up a little bit over last year. It's almost matching this past year, so that's not going to get a lot better. Townhouses for Fairfax County, and I'll send this link to you so you guys can pull this down. Copy. Let's put this in the chat. This will be a good one to print out, have it available for your buyer and seller appointments. Let them see what we're expecting. The projection's good till probably, September, October. Yep. Somebody sneezing or had a comment? Okay. Fairfax County townhouse and condos, we're seeing those increase a little bit on all fronts. The median condo sales price moving up in Fairfax County. That's pretty good. Arlington County single families, the units are going to be dropping a bit in Arlington. The prices looks like matching what was last year, and then the inventory tipping out a little bit over last year to this year and then back down where it was. Townhomes is the place to be in Arlington. Sales prices moving up. Now it is a smaller market. So in a month, you might have 100 sales, and that's going to swing back and forth a little bit more. Arlington County condos. Alexandria, the city, matching last year on the single family sales, except dipping down here at the end of the year. It really dipped quite a bit. Townhomes also dipped back to 23 levels and then back up. Condos, prices dropping. Prince William County, sales prices. They didn't do much of a projection on that one for the prices, but we are up a little bit. Heightened in the summer of 24. Single family home unit sales should be increasing. Prices leveling out a bit, or the inventory leveling out. Townhouses, the affordable single family home now. Sales should be up. And then condos. Loudoun County. Wow, look at this inventory in Loudoun County from 19 to now. All right. Stafford, not a lot going on down there. That's a little bit lower market. Now you saw what was happening with the median home sales prices nationally, and this is what's happening locally. So this is median sales, and it's just a continual upward trend. Now, this is a natural seasonal drop toward the end of the year, and then we'll probably see that move up a little bit. But that's the median sales price over the time period. And then this chart is the median sales price year over year increase in price. So we're outpacing what was going on nationally. And that's why I'm showing you this, comparing what was going on nationally versus what's going on locally. And then this is live here. I can search for different things. This is supply and demand. So supply in the fourth quarter 24 was 8% higher. And what you're seeing here is you got all homes type. You got the absorption rate under Q4 2024 and what the changes was from a year ago. And this is quarterly. So everyone was still showing a little bit of an increase the last part of last year. We didn't have a drop all year, but we had a drop in the fourth quarter of 23 on the months of supply. Yep. Closed sales. This is quarterly. There you see. And the only reason for the closed sale drops is we just don't have the inventory. Days on market. It happens seasonally. Way up here back in 23, we got to 30 days. And this is Northern Virginia Association of Realtors. And then it came right back down by the end of 23. And now we're at 15 days. And if you look market to market, I was looking at Woodbridge for one of our agents. They were at a 6-day supply with a 0.5 absorption. Same thing for Springfield. And then you can divide it up by price to find out what's going on. Yeah, there you go. The solds average days on market a little bit higher. Okay. So that's about all I got on the data. I'll send out the link to the national. I would use that to chop things up for your marketing. I gave you the link for the, all right, you know what? There's one more here I want to bring up to you. It's actually a pretty good chart. This one comes from novaregion.org, and they put it out every month. Let me. All right, y'all see this one? Demographics and economics.
No, not yet.
You don't
No.
see it? Okay.
No.
How about now?
BC. Yes.
No. There it is.
No,
It's a-
sorry,
Yeah.
wrong one. Sharing the wrong one. How about now?
Not yet. There we go.
There it is.
Okay, good. All right. This report, I'm gonna give you the link to this one. You should save this. It's a really good report that they put out every month. And I'll put it in the comments there. I mean, this is good stuff. This is easy to like chop up and put it in your postings. You know, here's population, what they're expecting. All right, I look at this population. This is where I just tell people, no, the market's not going to tank. When you're growing this much, you're just going to have more and more. The need is there. So, I mean, right now we're at between 20 and 30. So we're like at 2.5 million. And in what year is this? 24, 25, 5 more years, we're going to be at like 2.7 million. And then another 10 years, we're going to be closer to 3 million. So, I mean, you know, it's just like, no, we're not going to have this because of the massiveness of the population and the housing needs. I just don't see us having, you know, corrections here and there. Yes.
Anthony, the other piece of that, and this is coming out of the Fairfax County annual demographic report.
Yeah.
And I imagine this is coming from the Council of Governments, so it's probably going to be very similar. When you map population growth against expected housing units, the ratio of population to housing units doesn't materially change whether you go back 10 or 15 years or now, or go out 10 or 15 years. So that's another piece of that would suggest, from a supply and demand scenario, we're not going to have something materially different than we've experienced.
Right, exactly. What I would like to see is that sellers decide that they're ready to sell their rentals. 18% of our pool is investor owned. Now, it's not that that changes any big problem, because that 18% is filled by tenants. So the tenants still need a place to go to as well. And not all tenants want to go to a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. So that it's like we need more housing. It's the conundrum we're in. We're still going to do like 15 or 16,000 units per year, which is 30 to 32,000 sides. We just have to do our job to make sure you're getting 20 to 40 of them. That's your job. Get 20 to 40 of them in that market. Total households is forecasted to be over 1 million by 2030 in Northern Virginia. The income is nearly double the nation. 3 of the top 5 localities in the nation for income are in Northern Virginia. Our median income for Northern Virginia is 142. Virginia is 90 and the USA is 78. That's household income. So that's, probably a couple of incomes in there. And then the diversity of where the people are, the foreign born, what languages. I mean, I remember, was it George Mason or Marshall High School? I think it was Marshall. Is that the high school you go up 7 and it's on the left there? Is that Marshall? Yes. I think they speak like 30 or 40 languages in that building. It's amazing. So very diverse.
The IB school?
I don't know. It's the one you hand up before you get to Tyson's Corner. It's on the left before you hit the Beltway.
Oh, that's Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall.
On
It's like I remember visiting there once, and the on the wall you had like 6 languages with directions to go to any particular one. I was like, wow, it was like English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Korean, I want to say Arabic. It was quite the international experience. Here's our ages. Prime working age, 43% are between 25 and 54. All you young guns, I'm not in that bracket anymore. I know I look so much younger, but anyway. Age of population. Yeah.
Anthony, Prince William County Schools, they have families speaking 144 different languages.
Wow. There you go. And there's only 139 countries in the U.S., in the world.
I didn't know there were that many languages.
No, I mean,
there's 121 different countries represented in Prince William County.
Yeah, a whole bunch. Prime working age, and then the economy. This is a great sheet to just keep up with what's going on. Obviously, month after month after month, it's not going to change a lot. All right. But they do update it of what their projections are, what the employment looks like. This bottom quadrant will definitely change what happened the last quarter. But this shows you the makeup of the employment that we have in Northern Virginia. Great report. You should highlight this this sheet, this website, and go to it to just download it and use it in your listings and buyers. So when buyers say, I don't know, I think it's going to change, let me show you what's going to go on with the population. You're part of that population now, but people are coming in behind you. And the ones that aren't worried about interest rates and cost, but have the affordability to make the payment, they're going to buy. So that's where we are. All right. Thanks for much for coming out. Any questions? Anything else besides data? I know this is like a lot of data. Yeah, Megan.
Hey, I have a question. I had a client recently